In this video, I want to show you guys my new to me GT Grade Carbon Elite. Now this bike is, I just bought this about a month ago and I am really excited about it. I haven't been this excited about a bike in a long time, and I want to bring you in and just kind of show you all the details about it, what I've done already and what I plan to do in the future with it. So the story of this bike is I picked this up off Facebook Marketplace for $450. I had to drive, I think, about 45 minutes to an hour to pick it up, but it was in really good condition. As you can see, the paint is really good. There's like very few blemishes or scratches anywhere. It is running the factory WTB rims. However, it is probably not the factory tires. I didn't see any that would have this kind of Schwalbe gum wall tires. These are 45 mil wide, which I actually really like these. I think these are very appropriate. And speaking about tires, of course, tire clearance is the main topic. I don't know what the maximum is, but I did ask on the GT Grade Facebook group, and they said, some people said around 50 millimeters is what you're gonna get. Maybe some people said up to 2 inches and even 2.1, but I would probably say 50, 55, you know, probably what you're looking at. But anyway, there is enough for 40 and I think, or 45, excuse me, and I think 45 is very appropriate for this bike. Now, of course, the biggest thing that you'll see about it that might look a little funny is it's been converted to a flat bar setup. This definitely wasn't like this from the factory. I don't think any of the grades, other than maybe the electric grade, was had a flat bar available from the factory. And you can obviously see this is a race face bar, which wouldn't be factory. Has some kind of Shimano mountain bike levers. I'm not even sure exactly which one they are. And it has a SRAM X9 shifting 1x setup. So I actually kind of slammed it about as low as I could get it. So the stem is upside down, going a few degrees negative. I dropped all the spacers out. And even then, it honestly, it's not that low and not that aggressive. But it's okay. It's decent. But I really do want to convert it back to a drop bar setup, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But overall, the bike is in really good condition, and I'm really happy with the deal. I just cleaned it up, that's why it's relatively clean right now. But it's a 10-speed, by the way, so it's a SRAM XO on the back. This thing shifts beautifully. It shifts like a gun trigger when you're especially going down to the smaller ones. My goodness, this shifts so nice. I almost don't want to mess with the drop bar setup, but I do want to, but it shifts super nice. Now, going back more to the drivetrain, I did put on my own clipless pedals. I don't remember, it had some kind of flats on it before. It did have a different chain ring. It had this 46 tooth, which is way too big for me. I'm not that strong. I don't need nothing to do with a 46 tooth. And what I didn't know is this SRAM Rival crankset, which isn't factory, by the way. This is a pretty good, I've heard this is equivalent of 105 crankset. Really nice crankset. Looks beautiful too. Nice and glossy. But the only negative with it is, in my opinion, is it's expensive to get new chain rings. So I knew I wanted to change it off the second I saw that was a 46. I knew that was too big. But because it's the newer SRAM, it's the 8-bolt hole system, these are quite expensive. So like new, they're $50, $80, $90 from SRAM or a couple other companies. I don't see like a lot of cheap ones like you would see on a standard 104 millimeter setup. I did get this one though on eBay for $22 shipped, and it's a 40 tooth. Now the chain ring teeth do look kind of funny, and you might be looking at those if you're not used to seeing these and think like, those look worn out, those look messed up. But if you look at the new ones, they look like that too. It's just the geometry they use. It's not the same as like a narrow wide that you might see normally on a mountain bike. I don't have a lot of experience with it. Actually, I just installed it yesterday. Today's Saturday. Yeah, yesterday I installed these. I did a ride, a pretty long ride, well, like an hour and a half long ride. No problem, of course. They didn't do anything wrong. Worked perfectly. But I don't know, like once I get onto heavy gravel or any kind of thing like that, how it's going to do, but I suspect it'll be fine. These are also 165 millimeter cranks, which I don't have too much experience with, but they seem nice. They seem fine, honestly. Between me and you, I can't tell the difference between 165 and 170 unless I know that they are what they are. So, but yeah, of course we have the mountain bike rear derailleur here, has a clutch on it. Seems nice, shifting is super nice, but ultimately I want to switch it all out to a drop bar. So, but before we talk about that, I want to show you the brakes we have. So these are actually the factory GRX brakes that came with this bike. Of course, this is a hydraulic braked system. The Grade Sport, the GT Grade Sport, which is like the most cheapest one, I think it was kind of famous as being like the $500 or $600, something like that, gravel bike back when it came out. That had cable pull, but this one being the Carbon Elite, it had the GRX 400 group set. And so it still has these. Now, I was surprised that that would work with the mountain bike brakes, but apparently it does. It stops pretty strong. I don't know if it's perfect or not. Let me know in the comments if this should be compatible with the Shimano hydraulic braking systems. So I'm not really sure, but it actually stops pretty much fine, I would say. Now, I'm in Florida, so I don't know how it would do on a big descent, but I haven't noticed really any problem with it. Not totally sure, but I think this is the factory saddle for Breek. I don't know what model it is, but I would say it's pretty comfortable. I've rode, like I said, an hour and a half or about that much distance or time a couple of times, and I'm not having too much issues with it. I like it. One thing about this Grade I do like, and I'm sure everybody likes, is it does have a lot of mounting options. Not that I do a lot of crazy distance or anything like that usually, but it's just nice. It's kind of like, why not? It doesn't really add a lot of weight or anything, and kind of looks cool too. Now, one thing I didn't mention, and you guys might know this about me already, I love the GTs. I don't know why. It's irrational. They're not like, I'm not saying it's the best bike. It's a great bike. It's fine. But I just have always liked the GTs ever since I was a boy, and everybody in my age, I think, who was into bikes as a kid, loved the idea, at least, of BMX. Now, I didn't ever really race BMX, but I loved the look of the GTs at the time. That was my favorite brand as a boy. It was the GT, even though I never got the opportunity to own one as a boy. Now I have in the house 3 GTs, including this one, and I just always think they're cool. Of course, the most famous part about them, I think everybody knows right off, is the triple triangles. You have one big triangle, you have 2 triangles, and then you have 3 triangles. So just, it's a unique design. And the thing about this one is the idea is, anyway, that this will have 30 millimeters of movement. That means down here, where the axle is, it should be able to travel up 30 millimeters, which is, just over an inch, which is a lot. But I'll be honest, when I ride it, I don't feel anything. I don't know if I'm too light or I'm not hitting the bumps right or what, but I don't feel like it's moving at all. But they do say it should allow flexibility of the whole rear seat chain stay to move up 30 millimeters, which is quite a lot. So I don't know about all that, but one thing I wanted to mention is I went on a gravel ride a few weeks ago with my friend and a couple other people, and I was a little bit nervous about getting the paint screwed up with rocks being thrown up. So actually I took some vinyl from my Cricut. I have one of those Cricut vinyl cutters. I just used a kind of like one of those paper cutter things, and I just cut out a rectangle from some of that vinyl and put it on here, and actually it kind of seems to be working good. It's not peeling off, and it did protect the paint. Down further, I actually had a little tiny scrap of clear frame protector, so I just stuck that on there too. Okay, so the big topic is this flat bar. That's why I got the bike so cheap. Like I said, $450. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think the bike's original price was like $1,800 or something like that. I might be wrong, but it was like $1,800 when it was new. I got it for $450 and it's hardly even used. Like, the bike is almost brand new, except for somebody converted it to a flat bar. And that's why it was so cheap, because the whole group set for a drop bar gravel bike or road bike is pretty expensive. So I've been pricing everything. I've spent hours already on the internet trying to figure out how I can piece one of these together at a reasonable cost. And best I can find is if I go used with like Shimano 105 or various gravel and various different configurations of that type of shifter, integrated shifter and that's an 11 speed hydraulic. By the way, if you go hydraulic, it gets way more expensive. And I want to do that. I want to go hydraulic. I don't have to go 11 speed, but it seems like it's the most common. So probably go 11 speed hydraulic, probably Shimano. But by the time I add in the bars, the brifters, the tape, the 11-speed cassette, 11-speed chain, and a different derailleur, I think I'm going to be around $400, to be honest, which is kind of crazy. That's almost the whole price of the bike. So Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. Let me know in the comments if you have some kind of trick to make it a lot cheaper or significantly cheaper. That would be great. If there's some combination I don't know about, but I've spent quite a bit of time looking on YouTube and looking on Reddit and Facebook groups and everything, and it just seems like it's just expensive, you know, unfortunately. So I even asked the previous owner, because he said that the previous owner before him is the one that converted it. I asked him if I could have that guy's contact, and I guess that guy's not really interested in selling it or even responding to the guy. So, but anyway, it actually rides really good, and it's pretty fast. Like, speaking about the dynamics of the bike, even with the flat bars, to me, it feels fast. I don't remember the weight. I want to say like 9.5 kilos, which isn't super light really. I'll put it on the screen because I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, it feels pretty fast. And as you can see, I have the stem about as dropped as I can, and it still feels like a pretty relaxed fit to me, surprisingly. This is a size small, by the way. I'm 5'7", just over 5'7", 170 centimeters. And this small fits me, I feel like, perfectly. If you don't know, GT is owned by another company, I don't remember which one, and they basically have paused the entire GT operation. So essentially it's like GT is out of business right now, unfortunately. I hope they bring them back because, like I said, I like the brand. I just think they're cool. I'm not saying they're the best brand, and definitely I like other bikes, but I always had like a soft spot for GTs. Anyway, I would love to get back onto a drop bar. Not that I think that flat bars are slow. Like, I just watched a Leadville race and some of the guys run flat bars. I think second place is flat bars. I mean, you can go fast on the flat bar, but for me, it's as much about feeling as it is actual speed. And for me, drop bars just feel super fast. You feel, I don't know, aero, you feel pro. I don't know what it is, but they feel faster to me. So, you know, to me, the feeling is more important even than the speed itself. So this thing is all gray and black other than the tan wall rims, which normally I don't like tan wall that much, but I think it looks kind of cool in this case. And then the only thing of color I did is I had this wolf tooth spacer in my bin, so I just threw that on just to give it a tiny drop of color. But yeah, that's about it. Like, we got 160 millimeter rotors. Trying to think if there's anything else I haven't mentioned. We have the Schwabel, whatever you call them, G1 tires, which so far I really like. They're running tubes right now. That's how I got it. I might go tubeless in the future. It's a carbon bike. Like I said, it's a carbon frame. I'm not too familiar with carbon. I'm not like in love with carbon, but I thought it would be just nice to have a higher end bike that's nice and light. And that's why I went with it. I just saw the picture of it and I was excited about it. And also, other thing is like I mentioned before, the GT Grade Sport. It's an aluminum frame. I think the carbon looks way more beautiful. In my opinion, and I might be wrong, these seat stays are way thinner on the carbon, which just looks cooler. On the aluminum one, it looks more bulky right here. And of course, there's going to be no flex on the aluminum one. I'm still not totally sold on carbon. I have a feeling this isn't going to last like 30 years like my other GT. I have a 1994 GT Timberline, which is, yeah, it's 31 years old. Will this live to be 31 years old? Hard to say. One additional really cool thing about this bike is it has this protection plate down here. It's like plastic thing, which I love. That's very cool. It's nice. It's going to protect it, and it just kind of looks cool. But I kind of worry about that type of stuff, because if GT never comes back and nobody makes this, or like maybe it'll be difficult to find. Not a big deal. Maybe somebody will make it aftermarket. I like how they have kind of a lot of information about the bike. I don't know if that's a sticker, but there's another sticker under there which actually says this bike was made in 2024. So it's like almost new. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm pretty pumped about it. Let me know in the comments what you think I should do about going back to drop bar, assuming you agree that makes sense. What shifters, what rear cassette, what derailleur should I go with? I want something as big as possible. Like I've said before, I'm not that strong. I would love it if I could get a 50 tooth in here somehow, but even 46 would be acceptable. But I want something as big as I can get back here. I don't really care if it's a road shifter or a gravel specific shifter. The GRX is available, but it's all expensive, so I'm on a budget. Just let me know what you guys think if you have any recommendations for that. But I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and spend a lot of money and get this thing set up the way I want it. And I do actually have a gravel race coming up in a couple months, so I'm really excited about that. definitely this is going to be the bike that's going to go. And I think it's already set up with the right tires, and I want, front is good, but I want something bigger back here, you know? So anyway, that's my kind of first look at my GT grade Carbon Elite. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, please, recommendations on the handlebar setup. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys later.